Jumbo, and Habariza Gioni to each and every one of you. It's your boy, African King Darius, back with another round of that knowledge that the world is scared of and the knowledge we need to be able to survive in this crazy, insane world. Today, I would like to entitle my recording, Mind Your Own Business. There you go. Of course, today I'm joined by my young prince, Christopher Alexander Fields. Say hi, Chris.
Hi.
The missus is away right now, taking care of some business. And we are moving on to bigger, brighter, and better things in the near future, which the near future is soon. So, if you live every day like I do, where your future is finite and every day is your future, that could be today, that could be tomorrow, that could be in the next 15, 20 minutes. Who knows? It's just all when you decide to do it. So, I entitled this one, Mind Your Own Business, because a lot of us have difficulties in life focusing on handling the things that is our responsibility and only ours. We go out there into the world and we spread all our news and information about ourselves and then wonder why everyone is looking at us cross-eyed because they decide to do one thing that is a fault to a T for the world, and that's called pass judgment. See, the problem about it is we live in a society where everyone is judging each other. You could be walking down the street just wearing a nice white shirt with a jacket and a pair of blue jeans and look clean cut. Got your hair cut, got your beard done, your teeth is clean and white. You're wearing some shades, just enjoying yourself. The dude across the street could be passing judgment upon you because he thinks that you look like a total douche. So, at the end of the day, it's all about what we perceive as to others as to what we believe is right or wrong. We pass judgment upon people and upon others because we just don't know any better. See, sometimes we do stuff to a fault and we aren't aware of what we're doing, and we go and we make the sad mistake of paying attention to what others are doing and ignoring what we're supposed to do. We're so caught up in what everyone else is doing and trying to get everyone else to do this that we're not paying attention to what we have to do. Some of us spend 99% of our time worrying about what everyone else is doing and wanting to focus on what they're doing, that we lose complete track of what we're doing. There are people today who live in terrible housing conditions. And I mean terrible housing conditions, because they're too busy looking out their window and paying attention to what the Joneses across the street are doing. There's some people today whose health is terrible. And it's terrible because they're too busy staring out their window and looking at what Mr. Sanford over there is doing. How Mr. Sanford is working out. What Mr. Sanford is doing with his wife. Because we spend so much of our time worrying about everyone else in their life, we don't do what we got to do and take care of ours. And what ends up happening is we end up wasting away most of our life. And then all of a sudden, when life finally comes and knock at your door and you get a bad health report, you're about to die. All of a sudden, we want to play cleanup. Oh, I gotta hurry up and do this. I gotta clean up. I gotta finally get it right. Oh, it's too late at this point. At this point, it's too late. So many people wait till the last minute to get their lives together and to focus on the things they need to do, because they wait till the last minute to do what they got to do with their lives. And when the clock finally stops ticking and you hit the dirt, you're looking at life incomplete. You never got the chance to fully live life because you were too busy focusing on what Mr. Sanford was doing, what the Joneses were doing, what the Adams were doing, where the Franklins were going, what type of car the Bethanies were driving. You were too busy focusing on everything else that they were doing that you didn't even put no attention on your life. And your life ceased to exist. And now when your life is over, you feel a sense of regret, a sense of disappointment. When you get up there to them pearly gates, no matter which God you believe in, each and every one of them believe in the heaven and the hell. You're going to be judged. And they're going to ask you, well, what did you do with your life? Well, I know I wasn't like the Joneses. I didn't ask you about the Joneses. I want to know what you did with your life. God is going to ask you that. Or whatever God you serve. Buddha, the six-armed creature from India. They're going to ask you, well, what have you done with your life? If your only answer that you can say to your God is, well, I wasn't like the Adams, and I wasn't stuck up like the Franklins, you're going to hell. And I'm going to tell you why you're going to hell. You're going to hell because at the end of the day, you didn't do nothing with your life but focus on everybody else's. You wasted your life away and waited to the last minute to try to play catch up, and because you only had 2 weeks to live, you ain't have enough time to clean up those 2 weeks. It's sad. I watched my grandmother when she was close to her death. My grandmother got her life together. But one good thing that Dell had was she took care of the things she was supposed to take care of. She always made sure that all her affairs were in order. Her house was kept up, even though she the only one that lived there. She never even married after her husband passed. She took care of her life and did the things she was supposed to do. She took care of her car. She owned 3 cars. And she owned all 3 cars. One of those 3 cars she gave to my mom. She gave that car to my mother, and the car wasn't even working properly, wasn't functioning. The darn thing, it cut on, but it had no AC. The windows didn't work. There was a big hole in the back that you can climb all the way through to get inside the car. And I guess our neighbors across the street saw us with a bunch of cars and said, I'm going to steal their stuff because they got a bunch of them. So they would steal our cars. They stole my father's. They stole my grandmother's car. And they brought, of course, they eventually did get caught with the cars. And, they didn't take nothing out of them. It's just when they stole the cars, they realized that the cars were a piece of crap. So they left them. I mean, the car that belonged to my grandmother, they literally took that one and then said, screw it. This daggone car ain't even working probably. I got to climb in through the window to be able to get into this car? Lord Jesus. It's a bad car when my father literally sits there and my mother tells him and said, hey, somebody tried to steal a car. And he told her, let him steal it. I don't want it. That's bad. But the thing is, she did what she was supposed to do, and she took care of those cars. And the Audi, that's what type of car it was the only type of car, the only car she had that she wasn't able to keep up with. And that was because it was passed down from generation to generation to generation. And eventually, she was trying to get rid of it, so she dished it on my mother. And my mother finally was the one who bit the proverbial bullet and said, I ain't passing this car down to not another near soul. So she scrapped it and traded it in for another car. Let's not make the mistake, people, of thinking that it makes sense for us to get things together in our lives only when we're close to death. You know the worst time I hate seeing family? I hate seeing family after funerals. I hate seeing family after funerals. And I'm gonna tell you why I hate seeing family after funerals. If you're not going to be part of my life before the person dies, don't act like you're gonna be part of my life after the person dies. When my grandmother passed away, I had so many people try to all of a sudden want to be family. They started wanting to come around. They started wanting to, be part of my life and say, hey, you know what? Let's go check on Darius and see what Darius is doing. Then it happened. Literally 2 weeks after she died, they disappeared. They disappeared. I called them up on their phones, didn't pick up. I tried to go visit, they weren't home. I figured, okay, maybe they busy in their life, right? Oh no. I get told by other cousins, who I am close with, oh yeah, I be hanging out with them all the time. Well, god dang. You ain't think about dropping the Negro a line or something, Hit me up, hey, cuzzo, yeah, blah, 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 is here. You want to hang out? I would love to. But no, none of my cousins do that. One of my cousins, my youngest cousin, she's getting married. And she's having a baby. And whole entire goddamn time. One, I didn't even know she was pregnant. Two, when she got into her relationship, I didn't even know she was dating. I mean, golly. When you are that absent out of a person's life, stay absent. Don't try to make that, as they say, non-conservative effort to try to be part of that person's life. Because a lot of times, you're going to end up hurting that person. You're going to end up hurting that person. If you sleepy, go in your room.
Okay. Yeah, I am.
Bye-bye. The young prince has left the building. He's gone to go lay down. Anyway, so let's not try to do the wrong things to people just because. I mean, as I was previously saying, I hate when people decide all of a sudden when you're visiting the hospital or you're ailing and sick, now all of a sudden they want to hit you up and find out what's going on with you. Hey, Darius, how you doing, man? What's up? Now, as much as I don't put my personal information out there, I will say this. I've had several health scares. I have. And one of those health scares I had did land me in the ICU in the hospital. It made me so damn mad. Because one by one, I'm hearing family, oh man, you okay? Oh man, what's going on? Oh man, oh man. And I was sitting here saying to myself, all of a sudden, all these people who I was hitting up before I was sick, trying to spend time with before I was ill, are present now that I'm sick and I'm in the hospital, and you hear the letters ICU, which is intensive care unit. And most of the time when somebody goes to the ICU, they go to the ICU because they have had a serious, serious injury that requires serious, serious immediate care. But the point is, they take them to the hospital. They put them in that part of the hospital because the regular part can't serve the functions that part is supposed to serve. And the issue I had going on with me at the time was that serious. I was so happy. I started thinking, well, dang, my family actually cared, man. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. After I got out of the hospital in 3 days, man, that they really cared turned into no, they don't. After that, it was like, okay, They fell off the earth. My Uncle Sean, he hit me up with some recipes, and I texted him back and said, hey man, you got some recipes that I could use, some ideas, the type of foods I could eat? Because he had texted me one day after I got out of the hospital about some ideas for some recipes, because he's a chef. That Negro ain't text me back, not yet. Not even to this day. I swear to you, I went in around literally last year. No, yeah, about 6, 7 months ago, I went into the hospital. And whole entire time, it's now almost September, and this dude still has not texted me back with them recipes. Mind you, I went to something for my cousin. I saw him. He doesn't even talk to me. Doesn't give me a five. Doesn't say nothing. And I always ask myself, well, God dang, is it me? Is it something I'm doing wrong? No. People, it's not you. Don't blame yourself for the way that other people behave. If other people are that way, that's just their qualities that make them them. You can't change that about them. And it's not going to happen. They are who they are, and they're going to stay who they are. And nothing you say nor do is going to change that about them. But I was bummed that Sean, not even one time after I went into the hospital, even said anything. Dang, man. My uncle, my second uncle, because Sean is like my uncle, but my real uncle, Sean is like a family friend, but I call him uncle. My uncle, my real uncle, he was worried about me. Hit me up, all that. Hey, what's going on? When I went in, you know, day later, hey Darius, just calling to check up on you, see how you doing. Okay. Met up with him, asked the man to chill with me. I said, hey, you want to go out get something to eat or something like that? Let me get back at you with that, and see what my schedule like. I got to work and everything like that. I was so mad when I found out. I said, really? I said, I asked you, bro, just to chill with me. No, he couldn't do that. He literally said to me, let me check my schedule and see what my schedule look like, and I'll get back to you with that. I was so hurt. I said, dang, he can't even chill with me. The thing that sucks about family coming around all of a sudden after the fact, after a funeral, after you gone to the hospital. The thing that's so maddening about it is the fact that it becomes a habit. They always do it every time it happens. Every time. I told you I've had several health scares. That wasn't the only time I went to the hospital. Shoot, the very first time I went, same thing happened. Headache came. Oh, we gotta check up on Darius and make sure he alright. A week later, scattered like roaches. And I'm mad as heck. I'm like, how? What? So I don't know why when I went in the third or fourth time, why it became a thing to me to expect there to be some type of change in these people. It wasn't then, it ain't gonna be now. So I stopped expecting it. The point is, you expect your family to be your family. But that doesn't always mean that these people are going to always do what it takes to do right by you. The problem is they have their life and they want to live it, and you have your life and you're supposed to live it. They're not going to throw their life off for you. Now, there are some things that people feel within themselves is a must need to know information about you. Everyone around you, your uncles, your aunts, your grandmother, your grandfather, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins 2 times removed, your family members that are so damn close to the rest of the family members, they call them Unc. So you just call him Unc by default because that's what everybody else call him. And he answers to that. There's some information that to them is a must know information. Pickle. Pickle. Give me the pickle, baby. The queen is now in the building, y'all. I'm trying to get a pickle from her. She ate the sandwich in front of me, won't even give me a pickle.
Here.
No, I love pickles. Pickles are actually healthy. They really are. I don't know why you don't eat them.
For some odd reason, I don't like pickles. I just like relish. I don't know. Different.
White people don't like pickles. Blacks eat them. They do. Anyway. Like I said, the queen is in the building. Say hello to everybody. All right. So, I'm going to fill her in. Today, babe, my topic I'm talking about is simply this one phrase. Mind your own
business.
There you go. Your son said it. Come on now. Mind your own business. We live in a world full of information with people who feel like it is in their right to always know. They just have to know. They got to have an ear to the wall, ear to the floor, be a fly on the wall, drill a hole in your wall. They just feel like they have to know. But as I said, sometimes knowing becomes a problem. And that brings me to this point. When is knowing a problem? And then when is not knowing a problem? Now, ironically, sometimes not knowing can be a problem. I'll start on that. Not knowing can be a problem. And ironically, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I've actually done several talks about this, because I'm mentor. I've done several talks about this same topic. And I have gotten a lot of feedback from people who actually do say that sometimes, I tend to talk about the same topic multiple times. But this time, this is a little different, and I'm going to tell you why. This one's a little different from one of the ones I've done already. Before, I said that not knowing is a problem. But I'm actually going to tell you, I was wrong, y'all. That's right. Your king was wrong. Your king was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong, and I've done my research, and I've talked to other people about this same topic, and they have given me their feedback, and we've collaborated together on ideas, notes, and study on this exact topic, and they agree. And I mean, I agree with what they said, not they agree with me, because what I said was that not knowing is a problem. Not knowing is not a problem at all. And I'm going to tell you why. We as human beings live by habit. We make it a habit for us to always want to expel the information we have about us to others. We make it a habit to always want to tell others our story. So we'll never ever be in a position where we won't know. Because at the end of the day, he will tell her, who will tell him, who will tell she, who will tell it, who will tell them, who will tell they, who told all of them. And all of them went on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, MyPlace, FaceSpace, My Twitter, Face Twitter, whichever one you want to use. They went on each of those social media sites and typed about it, which means now over 1,000 people who read that same, because trust me, you'd be surprised that it's 1,000 people. Everyone thinks that just because you look at your counter on there, only 2 people viewed my video. Nah, actually not only 2 people viewed your video. As long as it's on the internet, your video has been viewed by thousands upon millions of people. Data travels everywhere. And as long as data travels, people are going to read what you have or see what you have, even if they mistakenly click on it. That doesn't mean just because it don't get counted as a view on YouTube means that that people haven't watched it. They have. Anyway. Those people have typed about it and it's gotten all over cyberspace. And now this all over cyberspace, all of the country, including other countries, Japan, Korea, Pakistan, khakis, denim jeans, all of them have seen your video or have now heard about your situation. So when I say that not knowing is a bad thing, or not knowing is a bad thing. Actually, not knowing is a good thing. Because the more a person doesn't know, the safer we in the world are. We live in a society where privacy, or as some people call it, privacy is taken for granted. People always want to be a fly on someone's wall to find out something about their life. As I said previously, you have people who literally throw their entire life off because they want to know about the Joneses. Or they want to sit there and keep up with the Williams. Or they sit there and want to do everything that they see the Adams doing. And the problem about it is, if you're not meant to do that and live the life that the Adams have, maybe you're just not meant to live that life. But you have so many others. Yes. You have so many others who sometimes want to just keep their life private. There are several sections of people's lives that somebody should not know anything about. No one should ever know about your love life. No one should ever know about your marital status and your marriage. Nobody should ever know about your financial situation. Nobody should ever know about your weight and all that stuff. Nobody should ever know about problems going on with your health and stuff like that. And nobody should ever know about the status of your kids. No, just on that side. On both sandwiches, please. The thing is, once that information gets out there, you have completely lost control over your life. Your life ain't even your life no more. It's now the world's life. And the world is the one who decides what you do. Have you ever seen a show called Big Brother? Or have you seen a show called Survivor? Or have you seen any of those reality shows where sometimes the fans get to decide what happens to the person? I don't want no daggone fat dude with a big blown beard living in his mom's basement with Cheetos on his shirt deciding my god daggone life. No, bro. What classified you as to have the right to do that? No. I make fun of that type of person. I used to be that type of dude. I was messing me up some Cheetos, man, back in the day. But anyway, I don't want that dude deciding that. And I'm not going to lie to you. Even though I was that type of dude, I still didn't want to decide other people's lives. When I used to be into the show Big Brother, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I was into the show, but When they came to the part where they said for the fans to vote, I didn't vote. I didn't vote.
I did.
I'm not God. Why should I decide on this and what's going on with this person or that person? I do believe in politics, and I do say that, we should be able to choose our president and stuff like that. Yeah. But ultimately, that's deciding your own livelihood, not somebody else's. Why am I going to sit here and say, oh, well, I'm only going to pick the president that, that's good for, you know, Mr. Smith down the street because Mr. Smith is having financial problems. I'm not going to just decide that. I'm human. Since I'm human, what am I most likely going to do? Well, I also got to stop and think about my Social Security. I'm about to retire in a couple of weeks. When am I get my Social Security check? And how much am I going to get? Oh, and then there's also the fact that, this president is sitting there talking about some dropping,
Okay.
this president talking about making healthcare, better for everybody else. He's also talking about dropping tuition, for college. And he's talking about, having, auto loan forgiveness where he's going to be completely forgiving all auto loans for the year 2018. Maybe this guy it might be the guy for me. I really need that forgiveness for my auto loan. Those type of thoughts, it's okay to creep in the back of your mind because you do have to think about your life and think about what's best for you. If it's only one more left, babe, just put it on that sandwich. Don't leave that one piece in there. At the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. And you got to think about yourself. The problem is, a lot of us don't do that. Again, we keep up with the Joneses, the Adams, the Silversteins, the Goldbergs, the Smiths, the Johnsons, the Livingstons. We keep up with all of them. And we completely forget about our life and the life that we're supposed to live. I mean, the Silversteins may have kids, but if you got kids too, watch that your kids not be able to live a good life just because you up there paying attention to what Mr. Adam is doing. Get your face out of Mr. Adam and focus on your life and do what you got to do and take care of yours. Because yours, guess what? At the end of the day, Mr. Adam dies. He did. Does your life stop? Now that Mr. Adam is dead, does that mean that all of a sudden, your life is completely and utterly made good? Hell no. I can say this. Where I used to live at, when I was a kid, like I said, I tell people all the time, born and raised in the streets, man. I was. The streets raised me. And I can actually say, there was this guy way back on my old block that used to drive a taxi cab. Good guy. Became my father's best friend. Him and my father used to go bowling, shoot pool, go to the bar, go to the titty bar. They did everything together. Him was my dad's ace-bone coon, man. Used to bump boats, hey, man, hey, how you doing, man? Two old heads just having a good time with each other. Because we lived in a row house. Our front porch wasn't just our front porch. It was also attached, but separated by a bar, to somebody else's porch. So it was only that one little bar right there that made up your porch. And a lot of times, people can step over other people's porches and just step right over that bar and jump down that last bar. Bam! All of a sudden, they on the other side, still on that same side of the street, but they at the end of that block of row houses.
Heck yeah. So you don't have to go all the way down this.
Right, they don't have to walk in it. Right, they don't have to go on the sidewalk. They don't have to walk in the streets or anything. They just skip right over. I remember one time I did that next day, looked at the house and saw two people in the living room doing it, and and it scared the living hell out of me when I was a kid. Yep, saw two people in the living room doing it. Ran right back to my mama's house. Said, I ain't going out there to go play with them, play basketball with them. There's two people in that house doing it. I didn't know what I was looking at. That was a natural little Negro, but I didn't know what I was looking at. Anyway. So, I was sitting on the porch. And as I was sitting on the porch, My father came down the steps. He said, tell your mother when she get home. I said, I'll be right back. He hopped into the cab with the guys at the front seat. Hey, I'm not going to get my father's name out. I was just about to. Gave him a 5. I make that mistake all the time. Gave him a 5. Hey, man, how you doing, man? Hey. He said, hey, how you doing, you old geezer? Hey, man. Both of them, of course, at the time, my dad was in his early 30s. A lot of people call it old head, but it's not an old head. I'm 30, so I'm not an old head. I don't consider myself one. I'm still young. I'm an old head when I'm 40, 50. So how quickly I corrected that. 50. Yeah, I'm not even an old head when I turn 40. I don't consider myself an old head. But anyway. So the one thing I hate, or rather dislike, because I don't really ever hate anything. I really just dislike it. I'm not capable of hate. I'm only capable of love and dislike, but not hate. The one thing I don't like about this world that we live on, not in, because if we lived in the center of the earth, we'd be all dead. This world that we live on, the one thing I hate about it, or don't like about it, is just the simple fact that there's so much information, and it can be found anywhere, man. I love knowledge. Trust me, I love it. I just love knowledge. But I'm going to tell you, man, if it be anything in this world, that there are certain things that I wish to God I did not know, nor did I want to know. The sad part about it is I end up finding out. And not because I'm looking it up or trying to find it, just because it ends up being told to me. Get in here and sit down.
I can't.
Come sit down.
I'm wet.
Everywhere we look, everything we hear, every place we go, there's information everywhere. And a lot of times, that information can be a bit much. Because then it becomes a problem. There are a lot of things, I'm telling you, that some of us should not even know about some people. There are things and aspects of celebrities' lives. I'm always like, why do I need to know this? And what does this do for me? Oh, wait a minute. What was that in the part I just said? What does that do for me? There it is. The golden question, people. What does it do for you? Does you knowing this about that person, about that person's life, about what this person is doing, does it do anything for your life? Does it improve your life? Does it improve your attitude? Does it make things affordable for you? Does it make your problem in life go away? Does it make people like you more? What does it do for you? And a lot of times we don't know. We don't know because it doesn't do anything. A lot of us make it our job to always know. A lot of us make it our job to always be in the know. We always have to know where somebody's going, what somebody's doing, what food they eating, what pants they wearing, who their friends are, who their cousins are, what school they going to, what job they got, how much they making. None of that is your business. It doesn't do anything for you. And a lot of people can sit here and argue with me all they want and say, hold up, bro. For some of us, it do something. It do something. Okay, then I dare you. I dare you to tell me what it does for you to know how much somebody is making. If that person is not giving you X amount of money and giving you an X amount of dollars and cents, nickels and dimes into your pocket, then that ain't your business. That ain't your business. Who that person's sleeping with, what, any of that. That's none of your business. And it doesn't do anything for you in your life. It doesn't. So many people believe that these things transform their lives. They believe these things make their lives better, and it does something for them. A lot of people say, oh, well, it helps me improve on my attitude and my demeanor in life. Okay, how? And I remember asking a person this one time, and I'm going to tell y'all that person's answer. I was talking about this very thing once, and I had a person come up to me, and that person literally said, no, you ain't getting to go to sleep, bro. You had your chance.
I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. Dad.
Something just came to my mind. A lot of times, we want to know what's going on with people. And the worst part about it is, the ones who always want to know never offer any solutions to that person's problems. Now, I can see if you're saying it's your job to know because it's your actual job to know. If you work for the NSA, work for the government, work for Social Security, work for social services, you work for any of those type of businesses where knowing the person's personal life actually does matter. If you don't, you ain't got a right to know. But wait, Darius, what if that's my child? Age 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and so forth are no longer children. According to whatever country you go to and whatever state you go to, as a matter of fact, over there in Israel, the age is 13. That's when they have their bar mitzvah and they become a grown man. And now their life is in their hands. They no longer your responsibility. In the Middle East, some children at the age of 10 are married. They are wedded to a spouse and their life is left in their hands. So count your lucky stars. Because guess what? That can happen if we get that type of president. Just saying. We keep snubbing these people. That's for another day, though. It's sad, really, because we make it our job to know what these grown adults are doing. I remember a conversation I had one time when I was a teenager. I was about 15 years old. I was chilling with my then friends. I say then because we're not friends no more. I was chilling with my then friends. And I remember we all got into this really intellectual conversation because we all were geeks and nerds and gossip. But we were talking. We started talking about I'm laughing because I remember verbatim what we were talking about. There's some things that your mind never forgets. This conversation, my mind never forgot. Because I actually had it again, ironically, with one of those people. We're not friends, but we did have this conversation. Anyway, we started talking about our lives. And we started talking about what direction we would choose to go in once we were a bit older, right? And we started talking about all these different other coaches. I'm a history buff. I love everything about history. when I look stuff up, research it, I love learning more about a ancient civilization that used to exist, or all ancient civilizations that used to exist. One thing for sure, I love learning about them. Anyway, so we started talking about it. And as we started talking about it, I remember thinking to myself, there was this one girl that I was friends with when I was young that my mother really, really wanted me to date. And she was like, I want y'all to be dating when y'all get older. My mother was literally going to move out to where this girl's family was living at. And we were going to do that. Live around the area where they live at. Oh, dear God. I didn't like that little girl. My mother did. She was friends with the mother, friends with the father, friends with the little girl's siblings. I hated that family. I did. I hated that family. And I remember I said to one of my friends, I said, hey, do y'all believe that if the United States was ran by somebody from the Middle East, do you necessarily believe that they would state a law that kids can be married at the age of 10? I said this because when I was 10 years old, that's when my mother was going to move to where these people lived at so I can stay friends with this little girl. And to my mother hoping that as I get older, that we would go to the same school and me and this little girl would fall in love. I didn't like that little girl. I didn't like her family, didn't like her brother, didn't like her sisters. I didn't like anybody in that family. I just didn't like them. We didn't click. And every time I went over there to our parents' house, I felt uncomfortable. Just didn't like them. So, I started thinking. One of my friends said, well, if they reinstated that, there was this girl when I was 10 that I really had a crush on. If my parents would liked her, I really would have wanted to marry her. I said to myself, well, good for you, bro, but I didn't want to marry the person my mother was interested in, no. But then Michelle, my friend Michelle, she said, if they did that, that would be kind of creepy because I wouldn't want to just marry some weirdo that my parents like. And, you know, me and her sometimes agreed with each other. And we ended up dating in real life and being in an actual full relationship. I'm not going to get into all of that. But that's the reason, that's part of the reason why, yeah. So whatever I think and how I feel, whatever beliefs I share with you guys, 9 times out of 10 is the same type of beliefs she's had. So, yeah. Anyway, I remember just sitting there and walking with them and thinking, all of their opinions on this is interesting. Then my friend Jazz, he said something really, really weird. Well, I wouldn't want to marry the person my parents liked because that person was grown. I felt uncomfortable. After he said that, I felt uncomfortable. I said, oh dear God, what is my dear friend saying? I wanted to explore more. But, again, was it any of my business? No! If my friend felt to share that with me, he would have. He would have shared that with me. No, it was none of my business. So since it was none of my business, I did not explore any further. I left it at that and said, okay, Jazz is being weird and creepy, and I'm going to leave it at that. And I left it at that. I didn't poke any extra questions, anything like that. Now, of course, later on in our friendship, after some, things I'm going to leave out has happened, he did eventually end up sharing his story with me about his life and the things that he went through. It was none of my business. It was none of my business. But let me just say this. When I met my wife, which again, I'm not going to tell you guys how we met. Not that I don't want to tell about how we met. It's just that that's personal information and I'm not releasing that. But, again, we met and it was kind of weird. I was, of course, as she says, standoffish. But that was because I was trying to figure her out. I wanted to know if whether or not I should continue to ask these questions that were plaguing me about her. I am not going to tell you guys where we met, but I will tell you this. One uncomfortable thing did happen that I had questions about. And she know what I'm talking about. Who was there on our very first date when we first met? Her father. This, again, people, is what I'm talking about as none of your business moment. Who she was talking to at the time and dating at the time, again, was none of his business. When me and my wife met, she was 19 years old. I was 23. I was 23, baby, going on 24. You celebrated my 24th birthday with me, remember?
Yeah.
So I was 23. So I was grown, and according to the state in which we lived in, which I'm not going to release that either, she was considered grown. If in any country she would be considered grown. So actually, I can tell you, I live in the state of Maryland, and according to Maryland law, Maryland federal law says at the age of 19, she's fully grown. So then tell me, how is it any of her daddy's business that me and her are dating? How is it any of her mommy's business that me and her are dating? She's not 16, she's not 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't do embryos or zygotes. How was that any of her father's business? Being as it was not, I felt uncomfortable. And I wanted to state to her at that time and ask her, why did she bring her father? But I didn't. Why? Because, again, I felt like it was none of my business why she brought her father. Whatever reason she brought him for, that's on her. We were just getting to know each other. We weren't in a relationship. She wasn't my boo thing. I was just trying to get to know her. So I felt as though that was none of my business. Now, a lot of people have told me I was in the right into asking questions. Yo, you should have asked her why. If y'all trying to get to know each other, you try to make her your main squeeze, yo, you should have found out. Dude, you should have asked. Because, if that were me and, my girl, I definitely would have asked her, why did you totally bring your dad? I've had a lot of people tell me that I should have asked. And baby, I asked you. Should I have asked?
You could have.
But would you have felt uncomfortable with me asking?
Back then, probably yes.
Because you would have felt like, well, I ain't your boo or anything like that. That's none of my business, right? Yeah, and that's why I didn't. Because out of respect for your space and out of respect for you, as I'm trying to show you the respectful side of life, I bothered to ask, and I said, I'm not. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask. And I did not. I did not. Now, much older, much more mature, and being as we are now married, we have talked about this situation. And when we've talked about this situation, I get told I should have asked. I can say that now, and she can say that now, but back then, no, we probably would not have even explored it. But I understand more now that that was none of their business, and they made it their business into deciding who she dates and who she ends up in a relationship with. Now, again, as I said, that was none of their business, but they made it their business. When me and my wife decided to have our first child, we were not living at their place, nor were we even living near them mentally. That means in my mind, they did not exist. But they felt to take it upon themselves that they must know. They must know. Now, at the time, my wife was then living with them and was trying to, the only reason I'm comfortable with sharing this is because there's nothing wrong with it. She was then living with them, and she was on her way to moving outside of their house. All of a sudden, her father finds a pregnancy test, and he flips out. And I'm asked to come down to the house and have a conversation with him. Now, I've asked a lot of people this, and a lot of people have said the same thing. Who the hell is he to tell you, a grown man, that you cannot have a child with a grown woman? If y'all had things figured out where y'all were going to live at, if y'all had things figured out how y'all going to take care of this child, you all were grown. And it's none of his business to determine when you have your child. And I agree wholeheartedly. After exploring this and asking so many questions to other people and other grown adults and getting their viewpoints and everyone saying the same thing, that again, he was being disrespectful towards me and so was her mother. It was none of their business to determine when we have a child, how she has that child, when we decide to sit down and be together. That was none of their business. My uncle, when my little cousin first got pregnant, she was younger than me. I had my first child at the age of 25. Okay? 25. Not 28, 29, 30. 25. My little cousin is now having her first child, and she's only, what, 22? Yeah. She's only 22. 21 going on 22. One thing for sure, she's still young, and she was younger than me. Her dad ain't offer no guff about it. Her dad ain't blow off no steam. But I had to have the rotten luck of having two people who felt like it's upon them to know what the Joneses are doing. And that's where the problem lies in today's society. A lot of times, we have a tendency to always want to know. And the worst part about it, it ends up hurting us. Because when we find out, we can't handle it. We can't figure out what we should do with this information. We find out, and it sucks. The one thing I can say, we try to have our kids understand that it's nothing wrong with being independent and living your own life. But then we as parents end up doing the exact same thing of stopping them from doing that. We keep them from living their own life. We keep them. I will say this. If we want to raise a better world, and by means of me saying raise a better world means with the young generation, because the young generation, they are what's going to make this place a better place and make this world a better world. If we want to raise a better world, you're absolutely correct, babe, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. But if we want to raise a better world, it starts with us. It starts with us. We have to lead by example and show these children that this is the way you should go. This is what you should do. Kids are always watching us. There's a famous poem that I used to always listen to, or rather read all the time. And I remember this poem from when my son was just, as they say, a wee lad. It was on the wall of the hospital when we went to go get the ultrasound for like the umpteenth time. Don't laugh. By the way, the prince is awake. The young prince, Prince Noah, is awake right now. Had to tend to him. Okay. So, let me get to that poem real quick. I'm going to read that to y'all. And I want y'all to really, listen to this poem. This poem is, really deep, man. Every time I hear it, it always touches a nerve, you know. Man, it does. Babe, you remember it.
A poem you wrote?
No. This wasn't a poem I wrote. This was the poem that was at the hospital.
Oh, that poem.
Yeah, it was called Footsteps.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta... Dang it. There you go, mobile uploads. Because it came from my phone, so... I uploaded it from my phone. So give me a moment, guys. Apologize for this. Just gotta find it. I really want to read y'all this. There it is. Wow. I put up it only once. Okay, it's called Footprints. Walk a little slower, Daddy, said a child so small. I'm following in your footsteps and I don't want to fall. Come on, boy. Sometimes your steps are very fast. Sometimes they're hard to see. So walk a little slower, Daddy, for you are leading me. Someday when I'm all grown up, you're what I want to be. Then I will have a little kid who will want to follow me. And I would want to lead just right and know that I was true. So walk a little slower, Daddy, for I must follow you. Every time I hear that poem, it makes me proud to be the type of father that I am. You know, and it makes me happy in knowing that I was chosen to be a dad. That poem hammers home exactly what I'm saying. We have got to lead by example. We have to, people. We are the ones that are going to be able to shape this new world and shape the world into a better place. We cannot look at the young generation as just a bunch of people. They are the new world. That's what they are. They are the new world. It's through them that things are either going to get better, or if we don't do our job, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse if we don't do our job. So we need to do what we have to do as adults and lead by example. These children need us. We have got to let them understand and know the way that life goes. The only way we're going to fix things and make things right for the new world is if we start showing them how things are done. So the next time you see a child, or even if it's your child, and you think that the things you're doing with your kid is not going to bounce out to another child, understand, as long as that child has the ability to interact with other children, it's going to. And what example are you setting by locking them in your basement? What example are you setting? So you're telling them that if, in any chance, that they go out and have kids of their own, they should lock their kids in their basement. Then when the rest of the family is looking at you, they told me that you used to do that to them. All of a sudden, everyone got their eyes crossed looking at you, and you're like, boo-boo the fool. I don't know what your words, I don't know. No. You're all not going to be lenient. You know. You know. Because you chose to do what you did. So you knew. See, the thing is, we live on a world where as though people like to try to play the idiot role. I don't know any better. But as long as there's knowledge, and as long as there's information, as long as there's research, you know. You know. There are literally books that are entitled blah, 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 for dummies. It's called the For Dummies series. So people like us, who say we don't know any better, who the world considers dummies, we can't be dumb. We can go look it up in a book. I choose, as an adult, to educate the new world, because when they become adults, I would want for them to be able to say, well, Mr. Darius taught me this, and Mr. Darius taught me that. And it's not to just stroke my own ego, because it's a very big ego. But it's not to just stroke my own ego. But it's just to be able to know that as an adult, I did my job. See, so many adults my age and even older forget that they're supposed to lead by example. They go around acting childish, doing childish things, and worry so much about age over everything that they forget that with the age comes something called responsibilities. They throw their responsibilities out the window and act like they should not be held responsible for being the age that they are. Well, you should. If you're 70, if you're 80, if you're 90, if you're 100, if you're 150, you should be held responsible for being that age. And I can tell you now, you might not be held responsible when it comes to being around your family, but you will be held responsible when it comes to the federal law and it comes to outside the walls of your home. People are going to treat you your age. I've seen a dude, and this is the God's honest truth. I've seen a dude who was 75 years old get pulled over by the cops and get tackled to the ground like he was 30. You know, I said to myself, wait, hold up. Don't they realize this guy is older? Then I said to myself, wait a minute, hold up. This was on a show that I watched called Live PD, by the way. Just thought I would drop that. It was a show I watched called Live PD. They tackled this 70-year-old dude because he had drugs in his car to the ground. He wasn't listening to the cops, and he tried to run, so they tackled him. In one of the other states, they tackled a dude who was like 32 to the ground. So that made me realize the world, the federal law, the court system, all of those things are going to treat you like your age. So what's the point in not acting your age? Why do some people feel that if they're in their late 70s, the early 80s, their late 60s, their early 50s, their late 50s, why do they have to believe that it's their job to act like they're 25? Or act like they're 15? Or act like they're 10? No. You have a responsibility to now be that guiding light, that example, that beacon of how things are supposed to do. A lot of people always say, with seniority comes wisdom. With seniority comes wisdom. So they expect people of the older generation to be wise, smart, and educated. So then what do you do with those daggone dummies who are in their seniorhood and they want to act like you? Well, they're not a good example, now are they? I would go right ahead and turn away and say to myself, you have nothing to teach me. And if you aren't mature enough to accept that responsibility of being that example of the way that life is supposed to go and what you're supposed to do in your life, if you feel like that responsibility is too much for you, then don't accept that responsibility. But then do the rest of the world a favor. Fade into obscurity. Because we don't need any bad examples any more bad examples of how life is supposed to be. We don't need that. See, that's the problem. That's all we have are bad examples. There's young men out here who don't have good fathers in their lives, and their fathers are in their 40s. And those men aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Why? Because they don't know how to be a good example. Fade into obscurity, bro. There are young men out here who are 15 years old, getting girls as pregnant as early at the age of 13. Why? Because they don't have a good example of how life should be. Because a lot of people in the older generation aren't accepting responsibility of their job and being that guiding light. Their kids can't know what to do with their children if the whole entire time you never taught them. They can't know where they're supposed to go in life if you never taught them. It's your job, now that you're much older, to be a teacher. You have to show them the way they should go. So many people want to tell somebody to always go to the local library and get a book and read it. Well, I got a question. What's wrong with you? Explain that book to me, bro. I picked this book up. You looking at the book and got a smile on your face. Tell me a story about it. Explain that book to me, homie. Explain that book to me. You obviously ready. You're 68. I'm in my 30s. Only 30. Explain the book to me, bro. I just picked that book up. Explain it to me. Tell me some stories behind it. Educate me. I want to learn. What I do with my life and where my life goes is my responsibility. And it's my business. And I have to be perfect at that business. Now, don't I? If it's my business, I need to be the expert of my craft. I need to be good at my business. Now, don't I? Because if I'm not good at my business, then I might as well close my business down.
Right, because somebody's going to tell you about yourself.
Yep. I might as well close my business down. See, so many people don't look at it from that standpoint, that life is not just life. It's a business. Every day is a business transaction. Every person you meet is a business transaction. How you doing, Mr. Smith? How you doing, Mr. Jones? How you doing, Mr. Livingston? How you doing, Mr. Williams? Every single last person you meet is a business transaction. You don't know how that person you may meet may be able to bless you in your life someday. Suppose one day, you get into a car accident and Mr. Livingston is nearby. He, you sitting there and you falling on hard times. So you decide to tell him about him. How you doing, Mr. Livingston? How you doing, young man? I saw the car accident. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Yeah. Only problem about it is our hospital bill costs more than our home, man, and I can't afford to pay that. You just became an expert of your business. I mean, I can take care of anything else. It's just that right now, I would have to put that off, and I really don't want to. Well, young man, I'm a firm believer of God, and God sent me here to bless you. Don't you worry about the hospital bill. I got your back. I'll cover it. Are you serious, Mr. Livingston? Sure, young man. It's all about how you treat others that you come in contact with. If you are a miserly, mean, spiteful, evil person who the only reason why you know this dude or know this person is so you can gossip about him, do yourself a favor. Fade into obscurity, bro. Fade into obscurity. Because you're not doing the world a favor. You're not doing anybody a favor by the only thing you want to do is gossip about this person. Don't try to find out information about people so you can go try to share it and shame the person to make them feel bad. Find that information out so you can be a blessing. If the person is willing to share that information with you, bless them. Oh man, they got me out here sounding like you know who, from the Cleveland Browns. I forgot the football player's name. It'll come to me. They got me sounding like him. Bless him. He said every day in the football field, bless him. Bless him. Every time he catches a pass, bless him. Every time he gets a touchdown, bless him. Every time a teammate gets a pass, bless him. Bless him. That's the most simple phrase I've ever heard that makes so much sense. Bless him. You don't know how the things you do can make someone's life so much easier and make someone's day so much better. How you can leave a smile on someone's face. We should always want to leave a smile on someone's face every time we come in contact with them. When you are shaking hands and making that business transaction, you want everyone in that business transaction to feel comfortable, to feel okay, and to leave with a smile on their face. If that person walks away with an evil grin, you messed up that business transaction. And in the business field, you know what's going to happen? It's going to come back to bite you in the hind parts. It's going to come back to bite you in the hind parts. I don't want to get bitten in the hind parts. I've been bitten on my butt by a dog before. I have. Dog that I own. Well, I didn't own it. It was my parents' dog. But you know what I mean. That dog, Coco, I was outside playing. Right in the backyard. Come on, Coco. Come on, Coco. I turned around. Yeah, dog bit right on my butt. I ran up the daggone steps crying. My mother said, what happened? I said, Coco bit me. She hit that dog with the newspaper. No, no. Coco got so scared, ran into his doghouse. Whimpering. My mother said, you stay your behind in that doghouse. Had a bite mark on my butt. Had a little bit of blood in my drawers. A bite mark right on it. Teeth mark. Wasn't too bad. She put a Band-Aid on it and it was fine. Put 2 Band-Aids right where the bite mark was. Hurt every time I sat down. My sister used to make a joke. I'm not going to talk about that joke. That joke was nasty. But I'm not going to say that joke. I'm not going to say that joke.
Oh, man.
So, you laughing because you can only think of 2 things in that situation. That's the only reason why you laughing. And one of those things that you're thinking is exactly how nasty the joke was. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, I choose to be a blessing to people. I don't ask them about their personal life. I don't want to know their personal journey unless they feel as though they want to share it with me. But I let them be the ones to determine that. Anybody else that forces you to tell them and always asks you this and asks you that and asks you this and asks you that. When you become so inquisitive that you feel as though you need to know, at the end of the day, you actually don't need to know. Because is it going to shape your day? Is it going to make your life better? Is it going to bless you what they're going through? 9 times out of 10, no, it's not. Because if it was, then you would have waited for them to tell you. You would have waited on whatever God you serve and allowed that moment to bless you. Because I can tell you this, it don't bless you when you're the person forcing the blessing. It don't work that way. I mean, I've known a lot of people who represent other faiths, and a lot of them have told me it does not work that way. It doesn't. Faith doesn't work that way. You don't force faith. Faith doesn't come by force. It doesn't. You gonna force God to make your day better? Come on, God, if you don't make my day better, I'm gonna run away from you. Guess what God gonna say? Go right ahead. I have others. I don't need you. You need me. You fail to understand that. A lot of people told me I should be a pastor or a lawyer. Whichever one lies better. Oop, I'm going to get in trouble for that.
Uh,
And final, I just want to say this. When you feel comfortable enough to share somebody your life and share with somebody your life, make sure you're doing it out of generosity. And make sure that the person on the other end is not going to be a blabbermouth and tell the whole entire world. And if you feel as though you're going to tell somebody about someone's personal life, do the respectful thing and ask them first. Because you don't know how letting that information out may end up getting them in trouble. I'm going to give this perfect example, and this is something that really happened. I'm not making this up, and I really didn't want to share this, but I'm going to because I feel like it's going to bless somebody eventually. When I was a kid, I used to always be told a bunch of secrets. And I was told this secret from one of my classmates. This little girl told me, and I'm not going to give out her name. We were in the same class in elementary school. She told me the secret. We were friends. Okay, her name was Alexis, but I'm not going to give out her last name. But we were friends. And she knew that, I was like the school bad boy because I was tough. At that time, I got into a fight with this dude named Reggie, and I beat him up. No, I didn't get a fight with weed. No, I got in a fight with an actual dude named Reggie, who, I wasn't hallucinating because I was smoking weed. No, I didn't smoke weed then. I didn't do that till I got older. But I was fighting him and hit him in the jaw, and and we scrapped like little kids, tussling on each other's clothes. I didn't tussle on your clothes. I actually hit you. I was taught to hit, and that's why people didn't like fighting me because I fought like a grown man. I didn't fight like a kid. I always fought like a grown man, and people hated that because people was expecting that rustle tussle, our clothes get wrinkled. No, I didn't want to get my clothes wrinkled. I know I was getting beaten when I got home if my clothes got wrinkled. So I just hit you with my fist. Better you hurt than me. I don't want to get a beating. I'm going to get one anyway because I was in a fight. But they always going to ask me before they whip my behind, did you win? If I say yeah, I might not get a beating that day. But if I say no, I didn't, I'm going to get a beating. I'm going to get one from my father first and then one from my mother because, I got my clothes messed up. All she cared about was my daggone clothes. Anyway, so the girl, Alexis, she shared this secret with me. And she said, yeah, my daddy came in my room one night and he touched me. I was just a kid. She said, that'll be our secret. Don't tell nobody. I didn't know what to do. I'm just a kid. How was I supposed to know that wasn't right? Yeah, I was watching pornography as early as 4 years old. But, even then I didn't understand what I was seeing. But, I didn't know what to do or to say. She shared that with me. I was in my room playing with my toys, with my wrestling action figures, the little I did have, because I didn't have a lot of toys as a kid, because where we lived at the time, if you did have toys, people stole them from you. Anyway, I had like maybe 5 or 6 wrestling action figures. Before we moved, I ended up having a whole entire net bag. But that was because it happened after we moved. But while we was living where we were living, I didn't have much. I had like 4 action figures as far as wrestlers, a Ninja Turtle, and 2 Power Rangers. And that's it. The rest of them were stuffed animals that was given to me from my sister, that my mom gave to me from my sister, and I didn't like them because I was a boy and like sleep with stuffed animals. But she swear that's what boys were supposed to do, and I didn't sleep with them. I always threw them on the floor. Then I would get a beating because the stuffed animals on the floor, and it made my room look junky. Anyway, I didn't know what to do. I was playing with my action figures, And my mom came past my room and heard me take one of my action figures and say, if you're my best friend, I'm going to share a secret with you. My best friend told me her daddy touches her every night that he comes home from work. My mother overheard. And that night she came to me, she said, who told you that? And I didn't know. I told her, I said, my friend Alexis. And I said the last name, but again, I'm not going to leave out her last name. So my mom brought it up to the school's attention the next day she dropped me off. And the school brought it up to the mother's attention. The mother ended up waiting for the father to get home. And she approached him about it that night. Now, how the heck do I know the rest of the story? Because I know a lot of y'all is like, if somebody making it up, that's because they know the rest of the story. They got to be making that up. No, I'm not making this part up. I know the rest of the story because I was told the rest of the story. I'm not going to give out that information of who told me. But, according to what that person said, according to what that person said, her father came in and the mother was waiting right there at the door. She comes in, cussing at him, hitting him in his face. He smacked her, pushed her on the floor. So he ran upstairs to go grab his daughter. She came up there with a knife, stabbed the man in his side. She called 911. They came, arrested the father. She told them what the father had been doing to the girl and what the girl told her the father did. And they surely did find evidence, because when they took her to the hospital and looked at the girl's body, they examined, her genitalia and found some of the father's DNA inside the girl. And when they found it, they arrested him on child molestation charges, statutory rape, then domestic violence, domestic assault, domestic dispute, and at the same time, because the mother was much smaller than him, they classed attempted murder on him. This dude got hit with the whole entire goddamn enchilada, and it didn't have no meat or cheese in it. I'm gonna let you catch on to that. I said he got hit with the whole enchilada and had no meat and cheese in it. So what's the only part he got hit with? The tortilla. So after that, the mother stopped bringing her to school, and they moved out the neighborhood, and I lost my friend. I lost my best friend. I didn't know how to feel. I said to myself, should I have not told my mom? I would have kept my best friend. Should I have, not said anything? In that situation, that was the right thing for me to do, to say something. But I wish I didn't know. Because now that Alexis wasn't going to the school, everyone was mad at me. A lot of my friends at the school was mad at me because Alexis was like popular and stuff like that. But they were mad at me because I told. And I said, what the hell? Yes, when I was young, I did cuss. Not around my parents. I get a beating. But I did cuss. I lost a lot of friends because I opened my mouth and I said something. So I was always confused as to whether or not I should say something. I was confused. I didn't know if I should or shouldn't. Sometimes knowing is a problem. And sometimes It's a heavy burden. That's why a lot of people should not be chasing to always know. Because you never know what you may know may change someone's life. And how you may get caught up in some stuff that you didn't mean to get caught up into because you were too busy being nosy. Because you had your ear to the wall, wanting to hear everything that's going on. And you done overheard some stuff that now you're part of. And I've seen people get beat up just because they were being nosy. I've watched a friend get gangbanged because he was being nosy. Sometimes knowing ain't always a good thing. So wait for that person to tell you, because you never know. If that person feels inclined to tell you, that's because they're reaching out to you. And when people tell us their personal information, it's because they are doing it out of love, they're doing it out of kindness, and they're doing it because they want us to help them. You can't help nobody. You cannot help anybody if the entire time you being nosy and trying to find out before they even tell you. Because what are you going to do when you do? And I love the reaction on people's faces when you actually know that they already know, but then you say something and they act surprised like they don't know. They can never actually say and show the actual emotion that come with it. I have not met one person, and trust me, I know a lot of nosy people. I have not met one person who has actually expressed the right emotion to a lot of the things I said when I brought it to their attention, and they already knew. They already knew. I have not met one person so far. Not one. I've only been on this earth for 30 years, man. And I have not met one person who can portray the correct attributes and emotions that come with if they were finding out for the first time. Like, I remember one time my sister was eavesdropping for a surprise party that was for her. And I remember I went to her and I said, yeah, we're going to have some fun today. All of a sudden, when she did already find out it was going to be a surprise party, we all were in the house. She comes in from hanging out with her friends. She come in the house. Everybody yell out, surprise! Once everybody yelled out, surprise, she sat there with the blankest look on her face. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh, wow. And everybody said, wait, did you already know? She said, no, I didn't. Another perfect example. I remember one time I was hanging out with my girlfriend then at the time, Michelle. And I remember me and her were talking about like something her friend Sherry, was doing, and the fact that we were trying to set her up with this guy that I was friends with. His name was Zach. And we were trying to set her and Zach up together to be in a relationship, right? She was being nosy about this thing that we were planning on doing for her to, get her and Zach to go out with each other. So I found out that she already knew that we were planning this for her. And when I found out, I decided to take it upon myself to go ahead and tell Zach, dude, no, we're going to do something different. And she was thinking that Zach was going to take her to the movies that day and that they were going to go to dinner together. But instead, Zach took her to, it was a carnival downtown at the time. He took her to the carnival, and they got on some carnival rides, and he won her surprises and all that other stuff. Like the chivalrous cute guy does. Yeah, that's all that is bullcrap. But when they got to the carnival, he told me that Sherry was bewildered. Like, she was looking around like, what's going on? I thought we were going to the movies. And he said, no, we're not going to the movies. Who told you that? And she said, well, I just thought that. And he said, wait, I was going to take you to the movies. How did you know I was going to take you to the movies? She was like a deer caught in headlights. She couldn't convey the right emotion. Instead of just telling the goddamn truth and saying, oh, I was just being nosy and I found out. No, she didn't know how to convey the right emotion. When I say people who get caught being nosy always do not know how to express the right emotion. Let me give you the 5 basic emotions that a person who got caught being nosy express. 1, laughter. They will just immediately start laughing hysterically for no reason. Why? Because they're embarrassed. It's a sense of embarrassment. They didn't mean to get caught. They didn't want to get caught, but they will intentionally start doing this thing where they'll start multiply laughing. Wow. Yeah. 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 No, yeah, what? Who said anything? No one said anything. Why are you saying yeah? You said like 5 yes. What are you agreeing to? No one said anything. I just opened my door. You happen to be right there. Why are you yelling? Yeah. Yeah. You're not even on the phone. Who you say yeah to? And then number 2, who said a joke? Did I miss it? Who said a joke? Why are you laughing? And that's one of the wrong emotions to exhibit at that time. It's because they do it out of embarrassment. The next emotion is shock. They'll start acting like they were doing something else. Well, they'll become occupied with doing something. Oh yeah, I was over here wiping down the walls, cleaning the walls off. You ain't cleaned them walls in 19 years. Why all of a sudden you clean them off? Don't be acting like you cleaning the walls. Nah, you ain't cleaning the walls. I'm going to tell you what you did was you had your ear to the wall. That's what you did. Your ear was burning. That's the problem. So you wasn't cleaning no walls. You going to clean the walls now, then be okay to clean the walls in 2 weeks then. There you go. I bet you in 2 weeks the walls don't get cleaned again then, will they? Them walls going to stay dirty for another 19 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they'll start becoming preoccupied. Oh yeah, I was fixing the washing machine, trying to get the right piece on there because the water was coming out. Really? Wait a minute. Why are you fixing it now? If this was a problem that was already going on for so long, why are you waiting until now? Once you got caught ear hustling, why you want to fix it now? Number 3, they start to develop compassion. Well, I don't know exactly what's going on. They always say that phrase. I don't know exactly what's going on. You know exactly what's going on because you was ear hustling. So you do know exactly what's going on. Don't lie. You know exactly what's going on. If you didn't know exactly what was going on, you would not even approach me. That's 4, right? The last emotion they exhibit is caution. All of a sudden, because they know they got caught, they start acting weird and become cautious when they saying certain things around you. So I was telling my friend, and I mean, what they do is they stare at you. They'll start staring at you, and they won't say a person's name because they know when they say that person's name, they know that you're gonna know that they overheard your conversation and that they were ear hustling. So they're gonna say, "Oh, I was just telling my friend the other day, to not go to that, place. I can't remember what place it is." All of a sudden, they become absent-minded as to what they were talking about. I don't know what place it is. They don't want to say what place it is because they know that if they say it, they're going to know they're going to get caught up because they were ear hustling. I missed one. The last thing that a person exhibits who you know full well is ear hustling. and being nosy when they know it's none of their business, they start to try to solve your issues. They don't even know half of your issues. They don't. They don't even know half of your issues. They don't even know. Yeah. They don't even know half of your issues. They don't even know the start, beginning, middle, end, or climax of your problems. They only know just what they ear hustle. So they all of a sudden try to solve your problem for you or give a solution that is supposed to be a solution to something else that you don't really realize they're using a solution to the problem that they overheard. But the problem is they only overheard part of the problem. If they were completely and utterly patient, you would have told them the issue, and instead of them ear hustling because the ears is burning, they would have been able to have the problem 100% solved. But that's what happens when you ear hustle. That's what happens. Instead of doing that way, wait for somebody to just tell you. Those 6 characteristics are always how people who always get caught ear hustling always act. Or, number 7, and I've seen this all through comments. What they'll do is, all of a sudden, they'll be walking away. They'll be walking away. They were in the area, but because they couldn't get away fast enough, they walking away and act like they was doing something else. No, like my father say. No. You wasn't just happen to be walking by in the area. You have no reason to be in that immediate vicinity. There is nothing in an immediate vicinity that is of your concern. But you just show up in that immediate vicinity because you was there hustling. This is the one thing that's the one thing that I just don't like that air hustlers do. They always act like they have a reason to be in that area. They do. They always act like they have a reason to be in that area. They didn't have a reason to be over there. They don't have a reason to be over there, and they shouldn't be over there. But they will be. Now, won't they? So let's stop, people, and start worrying about our own problems. You know, like I said, I don't like to be too preachy and, be all about the Bible all the time. But the Bible does say, why try to remove the speck out your brother's eye when you can't get the log out your own? So many people always trying to remove specks out of somebody else's eye, and they have gigantic tree trunks in theirs. They missing the daggone tree that they keep running into because they try to go around the tree, but the tree keeps multiplying and not letting them get past. And then when they can't get past the tree, they get mad. Why can't I get past this tree? Because you never bothered to take care of the daggone tree. Cut it down. Cut the tree down. Then go help that person. But when you too busy, how you doing, Sister Franklin? How you doing? What can I do for you today? But you trying to help Sister Franklin, but you got to worry about the fact that your husband come home every night drunk because he cheating on you. And he's smacking the mess out of you at home. I got to go to Sister Franklin's house. Sister Franklin more worried about you than you are her. Mary, is there something you want to tell me? You came to the hospital the other day wearing sunglasses. You getting your behind whipped by this dude and is trying to worry about Sister Franklin's health. Focus on you. Fix your issue. Get rid of that bro man. Take care of your problem, and then you can help Sister Franklin. When Sister Franklin see that you can get through your problem, she might have the courage to be able to face hers. You don't know how you fixing your issues can actually help a person. Like they say, bless them. Bless them. You can do it through you by fixing your own issues. So many people got so many problems going on. They live in a dilapidated house. They got bad health. Their car insurance is due. The house about to be foreclosed on. They have a bad spouse. Their health is so bad to the point they only got 2 weeks to live. So many people have so many issues going on with them that is so bad But because they don't focus on their issues and take care of them and focus on everybody else's problems, that's when things go bad. That's when things go bad. So that's all I got that's all I got for today. So let's really try to focus on fixing us before we fix somebody else. Every person tell you before you start dating somebody, you need to fix your own problems before you think that you're going to walk into somebody's life and be their all-tell-all answer towards how life should be. If your life ain't right, don't offer solutions to somebody else. Fix your problems first, and then you can be a blessing to somebody else. Because at the end of the day, you ain't helping nobody by throwing your issues onto them while you trying to help them solve their problem. Your problem may end up becoming an issue that adds more pain to them than was needed. Suppose Sister Franklin need a place to stay, but you ain't tell Sister Franklin that you got an abusive husband who slaps around women. She getting there, her health is already bad. Next thing you know, the man come in the house drunk and force himself on the woman. The woman ends up getting raped in your house. Why? Because you ain't solved your issue. Fix your problems before you try to fix somebody else's. We can't bless anybody if our problems are still so bad to the point where as though they're almost becoming unfixable. Let's fix us first. Because at the end of the day, once we fix ourselves, then we can go ahead and worry about somebody else's business. But you got to fix yourself first. That's why a lot of people always tell you, if they're not going to tell you about your issue, do yourself a favor. Mind your own business. Mind your own business. You got problems of your own to solve. Stop trying to fix everybody else's. Mind your own business. Because at the end of the day, the problem is not going to fix itself if you all up in the daggone problem trying to solve the problem without the daggone problem ever getting the attention it needs from the people that has the problem. So many people try to stand in people's lives and solve their issues for them, but don't even realize when that person's problems are solved, you still got issues. You still got to face your problem. And guess what? All of a sudden now, while you trying to face your problem, they find out that your problem was worse than theirs, and next thing you know, they feeling guilty, and you expecting the same thing in return. I don't think they're going to be likely to do it. I really don't. I don't think they're going to be likely to do it. Just saying.